In this video, I am going to walk you through how to customize the WBNL coaching real estate agent business plan to work for you based on your personal goals for an annual real estate year. So you need to just open up the document. You can follow along in this video, but I am going to literally go through all the tabs and show you how easy it is to use. It is an Excel spreadsheet. Don't worry if you're not an Excel user. This is really just a template that we're using. It's all auto-calculating. You just have to be able to put in your specific numbers and variables. So we start with step 1. There are 6 tabs across the bottom here. That's how we're going to maneuver through the plan. And if you recall in the training that you've already hopefully gone through, I really am adamant about don't pick a number out of the air like I want to make $100,000 this year. It really needs to be made up of 4 key things, okay, plus your taxes. And so use the other forms we've given you. Go and know what your business expenses, at least an estimate, are, your household expenses, what you want your commissions to contribute to your overall personal and household expenses, what profit you want to make, how much money you want to put towards retirement, savings, fund, that category. And then from there, we're going to estimate taxes. Now we can hit an annual gross closed commission goal, then take it into the formula and figure out how many deals we need to do, okay? So let's get started, and I'm going to say $36,000 is what I need for my business expenses. I need $48,000 to contribute to the household expenses. I want to make a profit of $55,000 this year. I also want to be able to save $33,000 and also put that towards my investment. So I'm up to $172,000. Now you just need to do a math problem. Now use some formula, whatever your tax bracket is. You can do whatever you want here, but the bottom line is you are going to have write-offs. You're not going to pay taxes on $172,000 so far. So if you want to be able to, get with your CPA or just put a number in here for now, because if the number's too high and you hit your goals, you'll have some extra savings and you'll be or profit, and you'll have paid your taxes, your quarterly taxes as well. So for my purposes, I'm going to put in $25,000, and this is the other thing I want you to see is like I'm at $197,000. So you know what? Maybe what I'll do is make this 28 because I'm just going to round up and shoot for 200 grand, right? Boom. That's how you play with the numbers, but these numbers mean something to you. Now you go to tab 2, and you'll notice it brought the numbers over here. Now then you're just going to fill this information out here in green, the variables that are applicable to you, and then you'll see how it changes the spreadsheet. So first thing you have to decide is what percentage of your business do you want to come from working with sellers versus buyers. Now this doesn't take into account referrals and all of that. That could be added extra revenue that you're making. So we're strictly talking about listings and sales for residential here. So if I want my business to be 70% listings, 30% sales, it's taken that and broke it down. Now you come in and you put your average sale and list price in here. So maybe mine is $475 now for a average sales price, listing price, and then maybe I'll go to $425 over here for a sale. You put what the numbers are for you. Next, you can change what the commission that you generally get, the gross commission that you get. I'm going to keep it to 2.5, but once again, all you have to do is come in here and change this, right? And that's going to obviously impact and do the math for you. So here's the gross commission that comes in. Now down here on line 12, you're going to put in what is your commission split. So you just come in here and change this, whatever it is. If you're on 100%, for example, you can come in and do that. If you're on an 80 or whatever it is, change that. We've given you 2 areas for you to be able to come in and also put in any additional fees that come out of your transaction, your commission. So a TC fee, an admin fee, or whatever. If you're in a franchise, then I would back this out, and maybe you're on a 85% split as an example. So you can see how this will change for you. If you're on a cap type model where you start at 70 or 80 and then it goes to 100, you may want to blend this, because depending on how quickly you cap, you'll know what to do. So you put your split in here. I'm going to leave it right here at 85, and then I'm going to use these 2 numbers for me. Great. Now I'm going to come down, and the last thing is what percentage of your listings sell and close. So I recommend using like 85 or 90 or 80. Just depends. Like right now, listings are selling, right? So this could even be a little higher. So maybe I'll go to 90. And then I just recommend putting a little bit of a factor in here because not everybody some people change their mind, buyers and sellers. So you can change that variable, and then what it does is it breaks it down into how many annual listings you need and how many annual sales. And you can see here it's 16.3 listings and let's just call it 8 buyers, right? Now I can move on to tab 3. And you'll see this is very easy to use. This is just nothing more than a couple things. How many weeks a year are you working out of 52? And what's your ratio of how many presentations you need to go on for a seller that you get one listing? And it all depends on how you run your business and your experience level. And if you're new, for example, you may come down here. These numbers get pulled in from the first tab. And just to review, it basically says you need 16 listings, so one of them is going to fall out, 15 will close. And if your ratio to presentations is 3-to-1, for example, because you're newer, well, I need 49 presentations so that I can get 16 listings. Does that make sense? Great. Then you're going to say how many weeks you're going to work. If you're planning on just taking 2 weeks off, I'd change that to 50. I'm going to stick with 48. I'm taking 4 weeks off because this keeps you hyper-focused on your goals for the week and month. So I basically need 4 listings a month so that I can get one listing a week rather, so that I can ultimately get 16 listings throughout the year. And then the same thing happens down here. What's your ratio to buyers? Maybe this is 2-to-1 for me, so I need 2 good buyer prospects. These aren't just leads now. These are people that you've had a consultation, that you've started to maybe meet at open houses. How many presentations, let's call them presentations, where you get people to start qualifying lead to a sale. So I'm going to use 2-to-1 for this. And this is simply saying I've got to have a good 16 true buyer leads of people who want to buy a house, that are willing to go talk to someone and they're going to stay working with me, okay? All right, now we go to the next area, which is context needed. So if those are the presentations, and you can see that it brings it in here for buyers, and then it will do it for sellers as well. So the top part was sellers and the bottom part was buyers. Now all this is meant to do, you can come back and customize this later once you know the avenues, the strategies you're going to use, the tactics you're going to use for lead generation. These numbers are just built in from sources like the Mike Ferry organization and others that say, for example, you need to have 150 cold calls to get one lead, right? So if you're going to make cold calling or for sale by owners, for every 10 for sale by owners you work with, you can get 1 deal out of it, and 15 expires as an example. Even sphere of influence connections are 50-to-1 kind of connection ratio of how many times you're reaching out and connecting and how many people you need to talk to. So all this simply does is calculate to get to 100% what percentage of your business. So this is going to help you figure out if I need 49 listing presentations, where are they coming from? So if I want the majority to come from my past clients, like I have it here, let's say I'm going to change this to 75%. You can see it's moved it up to 105. So where else is it coming from? Well, maybe I'm only going to do 5% that comes from networking. So you make this work. You break the 100% down to the different strategies. You can change it. You can customize what these other strategies are going to be. And then it gives you a ratio, how many weeks you're working, and just simply tells you what's your weekly and your daily goals in each of those areas. Okay, so that's just a nice way to help you stay hyper-focused on if you're going to make this happen, what are you going to do on a daily and weekly basis, and that's all part of what we teach you in our training program, specifically the Sales Builder program. The last the second to last tab 5 is a little bit of that game plan, right? So now it's brought in our listing presentations, and it's a way for you to come in and keep track of your listings taken, open escrows. This is all things that we teach in our Real Estate Sales Builder program. We actually have a much more detailed tracker in our Sales Builder program that you need to use if you're in the program, that helps you through the first 120 days or so. So this also will just help you with staying on track with the things that we like to teach on 1 to 2 hours of lead gen and how many conversations and calls and what are your goals to make all that stuff happen. And then you can track your weekly presentations and other activities like sending out a newsletter and adding to the database. You can customize this action plan for however it works for you. And finally, the last tab is awesome. Let me take a few minutes to show you this. We've used this business plan. We've made adjustments to it recently, but this piece of the business plan is really your, if you will, whiteboard. Okay, it can be your online whiteboard if you post this and put it up into Drive, for example. So what this does for you is track your numbers as long as you enter your information. You'll love this at the end of the year. It'll keep you on track of what you have in escrow, your active listings, and your closings for the year. So it's color coded. Blue is active listing, orange is in escrow, and green is closed. And I have these in here just as an example. But I'm going to walk you through how to do this and then show you how it changes color. And as we go through, I'll explain how everything is auto-calculating and giving you all the metrics that you need so you can, at a glance, know what's my average sales price, how many closings have I had so far this year, how much income have I earned, what's my gross versus my net, all of that information. What's your close volume? You'll have it if you just simply enter the data. So let's start with a new listing, okay? So my client, I'm going to enter my client's information here, and it's going to be, let's just go with Jane Smith. All right, the source, this is great because later you can come back and you can see where did these guys come from. So I'm going to say it's my sphere of influence. What's the closing date? We don't have a closing date yet, so we're going to come back and use that in a minute. Now I'm going to use the address, and it's going to be 12345 Pine Tree Street, and then it's close no, so we'll put an N here. And then is it a buyer or a seller? It's a seller, because all these things are actually calculating for you at the bottom here. This is why you put all this in. All right, so right now I'm going to put its sales price is actually also list price. So I listed this house for $459. Now it defaults to 3% gross commission, but if it's not 3% and I'm going to get 2.5 on my side, I can make that adjustment. So here's the gross commission. There's a place for you to track a referral if you are if you have to pay a referral fee. Your split, so if your split starts out for example, and you're on 80 and then you go to 100, you can put it here or whatever the deal is. You can put in your transaction fee. Mine's going to be $350 here, and then I'm going to use I have a $200 TC fee as an example. All right, so now how I turn this to blue is I put that $459 over here in this listing area, and this is just all calculated into this spreadsheet, and when I do that, it turns it blue. So in a glance, you can see that you have, I have 2 active listings, I have 2 closings, and I have 1 in escrow. All right, so now let's say we sell this house, okay? So I can come back in here now, and what I do is I zero it out in here because it's not in the listing volume area right now because we're going to put it into escrow. So now I may have an estimated closing date, so maybe that estimated closing date is we'll say 8/30/21. That's not closed yet, but we'll do it later. And so now what I can do is come in and put in the what it sold for. So maybe it sold for $455, okay? And now it changes everything. And now what I'm going to do is put this $455 in the escrow column. Actually, what we do is you don't put the volume in, you're going to put the commission amount in. So to change it to the orange, we're going to say that the adjusted commission here is $11,375. So let me put in right here, orange, $11,375. And then when I tab out of that, it turns it orange, okay? So this is how you track it. You use this listing volume, this escrow. This current column is a place for you to be able to calculate what's the current commission that you have coming and pending if you wanted to have that. And then here's how we change it to closed. Okay, so now we're going to come back, and it did close. Everything's good. The numbers, nothing changed. You do this because sometimes you have to adjust your commission, for example. Maybe you had to pay for something, so you could come back in here and put that information in here. And then what you do is you take this out of here and you put it in the green column, and you can now see it turn green. All right, so very cool to use this, and you can see that if you have the area here in this month and next month, if you wanted to be able to track, you have a lot of escrows and you want to go, what do I still have pending for this month to close, and what do I have next month? You can do that, and it will help you calculate things here. It's going to calculate all of your closed net as an example here. And let me just check one thing here. So I want to double check that it is calculate. Well, your sales prices are adding up here. You really want to be able to use the closed sales prices so that you'll see that it's calculating and bringing it up here into say, what's your unit volume, how many have you closed, what's the sales price of what is closed. It'll start doing your average sales price based on all of this. And this estimated production is taking into account your listings and your sales. And you can see each of these columns calculate so that next year when it's time for you to do business planning, you can easily get to your numbers, including what your average sales price is and what your volume numbers are. So I think you'll like this part a lot, but it doesn't work for you unless you actually come in and do it each time you have a closing. You take an escrow, you take a listing rather, and you put something into under contract status, okay? So that's it for the Real Estate Sales Builder Plan. It is really easy to use, and remember, this is a living, breathing document. It's not meant, especially that last tab here, if you posted and put all this up in, I recommend highly to take the spreadsheet, upload it into Drive. If you're working with anyone else, this is a way for you to share the information. If you have an assistant, this is somebody, they can be putting this information in for you, and at a glance anywhere that you can access the internet, you can see how you're doing. And you can have a production board like this that's working based on your goals. And you can make those adjustments on a quarterly basis to your game plan just by simply coming back in and making any adjustments that you want to here, for example. And then it will automatically calculate, or anything in here will automatically recalculate all your numbers for you. Okay, use it, and good luck reaching and surpassing all of your goals.